There's no doubt that food producers and processors in 2020 have had to adapt to a very quickly changing marketplace. I'm Peter Chapman from SKUFood, and I want to welcome you to some insights that we'd like to share from some of our learnings in 2020 that food and beverage producers and processors can take into 2021 and really try to implement these in your business right away. We're going to talk about the trends and then how it impacts producers and processors and what you can be doing about it. And there's no doubt that so many things changed in 2020, how you had to produce your products, probably how you had to communicate with your customers, and also how you have to communicate with consumers changed so much as well. So lots of things, but what we've tried to do is take a lot of the learnings from all of the conversations we've had with producers and processors and retailers and consumers and boil them down into 7 trends we see happening in the food industry that really can help you shape your business in 2021. So let's take a look at some of those trends and see what's going on in the industry. So the first trend that we've identified is just the fact that the value of food has changed. You know, in 2020, everybody had to take a pause and things were forced to slow down, whether we liked it or not. But one of the benefits was that people do see a greater value in food. And that's important in our industry because people are now looking and saying, wow, what did it take to produce those products and who's producing them and learn about the story behind it. So it's important for us as producers and processors to also understand that if your cost of goods have changed through the year, as consumers and retailers put more value into getting product and having food and beverage, that you really need to make sure you reflect that. So watch your cost of goods. If things are changing, communicate with your customers, start the conversation right away in the new year, and make sure that what you're being compensated for your products really reflects the true cost of what you have to do to produce them. The second trend we've seen is that there's an increased demand for Canadian and local products. As people were closer to home, they explored new things, they learned about new local products, and they are in demand. Consumers want these products. In the past, they might have said they wanted them, but when they went to the shelf, I'm not sure they exactly always factored that into that purchase decision, but now we're seeing that happen. And retailers are looking for these products as well. They want really good service level, and consumers are looking for them, so the retailers are looking for them. So make sure that you're trying to explore all the options to get your product to the shelf. And also, when you tell your story, make sure that consumers understand where your product is produced and why that's a point of differentiation. Local is great, but really try to focus in on why it's a point of differentiation. Is there a special ingredient that you can use because it's local, or maybe a twist on how you do it? Focus on some of your employees, tell their story, that kind of thing. Lots of great opportunities for producers and processors, and this is the time when there is an increased demand for Canadian and local products. The next trend that we've identified is the fact that e-commerce is just going to continue to grow. We know that in 2020, as consumers were forced to really more stay home and consider different options, that shopping online for food just increased exponentially. It went from probably 2 to 3% of total food up to 12 to 15%. And I really see that that's going to grow in 2021 as consumers gain more confidence in retailers' abilities to pick their orders for click and collect and pick out the right veggies and the right meat products that they want, and just get used to that convenience of being able to shop at home and have their products either delivered through certain retailers who are doing that, like Sobeys with their Voila program, or the click and collect model that's used by other retailers. So we're going to continue to see it. So as a producer or processor, you need to be exploring selling online direct to consumers. That's an option for people. There's also an option to consider third-party seller, like an Amazon type model. And then also there's, of course, selling through retailer, through your customer's website. So explore all of them, understand them, buy your products on them, understand it from the consumer side. But there's no doubt that we're going to continue to see more and more food purchased online. The next trend we've identified is just the fact that retailers' priorities are changing. And, we illustrate sort of the baking category here because we know that some of those aisles were wiped out and we still see service level challenges. So really, the retailers' priorities are changing. So make sure you're talking to your customers. Ask them what's important to them. Ask them what they're focused on as they're trying to adapt to a rapidly changing environment as well. So make sure you think about that. Also think about the store environment changing. We've seen how consumers shop shop category is very different. So make sure that you're helping consumers find you in the store when you're talking to them on social media. Help them save time so they don't have to search all over, because when you go up the aisle the wrong way, they're not going to go, if they get to that arrow and they go, oh, you know what, I'm not going down that aisle. So help them out. Make sure that they can find your products easily. And the next trend that we've identified is this obvious trend, which many of you have even experienced, is working from home. And people shop differently when they're working from home. So breakfast has become a very different meal for people. We also know that snacking is different. They also shop differently when they're working from home because they don't have that sort of structure of morning till evening in an office or a work environment. They're now a little more flexible. So perhaps they might want to work later and shop on a Tuesday morning or something like that. So it's interesting to see how consumer shopping patterns have changed. So as a producer or processor, help them with that. Give them new ideas to use your products. We know people are sometimes getting a little bored of the same old recipes. They're not going out like they used to. So give them opportunities, help them figure out how to use your products. Maybe you can use it at different meal occasions or for a different snacking occasion or something like that. They're looking to try to change it up. And then the next trend we've identified is this real shift in the people shopping in grocery stores. And we know that restaurants have been really hurt by the whole pandemic, where they've been either forced to close or forced to offer takeout only, which has been very difficult for the food service industry. But that shift, what's happened, a lot of the people who were eating in those restaurants are the millennials. And they are now shopping in the grocery stores. So what are you doing from a supplier perspective to communicate with these people, to deliver products that appeal to them, and really learn about them, because they have a huge buying power in the market. And a lot of companies have been trying for years to figure out, how do we get millennials shopping in grocery stores? Well, they've been almost forced to do that now. So what are you doing about it to communicate with them and really make sure they understand your product and how to use it and all kinds of different things. So make sure, and how you communicate with this generation is different than you communicate with other ones. So make sure you learn about it and do it effectively. And then the last trend we've identified is just still how important service level is. And your customers, the retailers, they need product in their stores. And if you're able to service them and deliver what they order, when they order it, where they order it, then you will be different from your competition. So make sure that you put that focus in your business. Make sure your employees understand how important service level is. And then when you're talking to your customers, report on it. Tell them they're not going to check every supplier, and they're going to focus on the problems. That's just the nature of the beast. If somebody's service level is low, that's where they're going to go, and they're going to try to fix it. So if your service level is 96 and above, they're going to be happy with you. So make sure that you communicate that to them. And it's not bragging. It's just saying, our service level is 98, and they're going to go, that's great. That's how you develop the relationships with your customers, is by reinforcing the positive things about doing business with you. And service level, as we continue into 2021, will be one of those things that's really important. So those are the different trends that we've identified. We hope that those can really help make a difference in your business. And that's really what we're all about here at SKUFood, is trying to provide insights and into the food industry so that food and beverage producers and processors can really run their businesses more effectively and optimize the opportunity that you have. If you've got any questions about these trends or you want to talk about them, just give me a call. My number is 902-489-2900, or you can send me an email, peter@skufood.com. That's SKUfood.com.